Don Gurr is a collector turned retailer, a man who made a hobby into a business.
Don, how did you get into the business of selling model cars?
Started about 3 years ago when my little boy was born, and I sort of started searching for the toys that I had as a kid to give to him, and discovered that you couldn't buy them anymore. And the more I searched for them, the more I realised that they were collectible, worth a lot of money, and I thought, well, this would make a good business.
What makes a model car valuable as a collector's item?
It's the same ethic that applies to stamps or coins. It's just rarity and popularity.
What would be the most expensive item that you've got, for example, in your shop at the moment, do you reckon?
The most expensive item would be a gift set, which was made by Corgi in the late 60s. It's expensive for a number of reasons. It's boxed, that's important. The box is in excellent condition, there's some repair work here, but more importantly, the models inside are in mint condition. They're not marked, there's no scratches, and they obviously have never been played with.
Right, we've also got a set of 6 cars and a truck there too, which helps, doesn't it? It's more
Well, it
than
does.
just one car.
Yes, yeah. But this would retail for $795.
Really? Yeah, well, I wish I'd kept all mine.
Someone who has kept all his, plus a lot of others as well, is collector Martin Bodner.
Martin, how long has it taken you to put this collection together, do you reckon?
Oh, anything up to 20 years now.
20 years? Here's a question for you. Have you ever done a count? How many individual pieces of motorcar machinery do you think you'd have now?
2,000 to 3,000, I would imagine.
2,000 to 3,000. Do you have any idea what your collection's worth?
Probably many thousands of dollars.
Many thousands of
Many thousands, yes.
Yeah,
But,
So in fact, it's not
only-
a collection, it's an investment.
it's an investment, but it's only worth that sort of money to collectors. I mean, anybody
someone
off the
else who
street,
wants
it's not worth a thing.
These tin plate models are very early, aren't they? This stuff over here?
We have something like this from the turn of the century, which is a very early piece, and
They're almost the first cars ever,
that's right, yes.
ever made.
And there's something like this, which is made in Australia, which is a very early Metoy. It's an English company, but they had a factory here. So just
We're talking about literally pre-1930s, so 20 and
some of
20s.
them,
Yeah.
and some are into the 50s and like this type of thing, just after the war.
Yeah.
Well, I see you got 4 of the same, virtually the same thing over here with these. This is
Yes, the Matchbox
models of yesteryear, aren't they?
yes, Model A cars.
Model A, Model T.
Model T, sorry. Yes. All right.
Yeah. Except that they're not the same, are they? Because I've got, that's Bird's custard powder.
And the
Oh,
Arnott's
that's Arnott's. Now, that's a British firm making an Australian
exactly
product
right.
model.
Made especially for the Australian market and very collectible.
And only for the Australian market.
Only for the Australian market, they will bring around the $350 to $400 for market.
Does
as such.
that, I would suggest that means they made less of them, you know, but
They didn't make so many, but the collectors overseas are very keen to get these models that are made specifically for Australia.
Now, all those cars we've just been looking at are, at the very least, identifiable, recognisable models from Holden even, Ferrari, everybody who builds cars. But these cars are a little different. You won't identify any major brand names among these, but they're certainly cars, and you can't collect these and keep them on your kitchen bench either.
Chris Smith collects pedal cars, and his collection is vast and varied.
I see a Cyclops name badge. That tells me it's Australian.
Yeah, that's the famous Australian brand.
This must be a really early one. I guess all these cars of yours reflect the period in which they were built.
Yeah, they modelled them off the big cars.
Yeah.
More like,
This would be 1920s.
yeah, in 20s, yeah. Yeah.
Chris, how many have you got? Have you ever done a count?
On a rough guess, I'd say around the 200 mark.
Pedal cars came into popularity at much the same time the models did. That is, about the same time the motorcar began to become viable, popular, and a regular means of transport. The models reflect the period in design and execution. Interestingly, Chris Smith says that it can take as long to restore a pedal car to its original pristine condition as it does with the real thing, sometimes as much as 100 or more hours.
One of the strange things, as far as I'm concerned, is that everybody I've ever talked to who collects cars in any way, model cars particularly,